just wow. Killing Them Softly. Okay, so Killing Them Softly involves a heist with a poker game where two characters rob a poker game and all the characters, and then it involves all the repercussions and the events that take place after that, involving a whole array of characters. Now, I don't want to say too much about the plot because I went in quite blind about this film and what it was actually about, and I think that benefited more for me. But what I will say is this plot is engaging from beginning straight till the end. And one of the main things it has is an underlying theme about the economy of basically America and everywhere in general. And it has a lot to say about the how the country of America is as it is now. And there's a lot of key lines, and the last line of the film, which relates to America but actually relates to pretty much anything, you know, all countries and money in general, is one of my favourite ending lines to a film of all time. Now, if you've seen the cast, you'll see that it's a fantastic cast and they are all on top of their form. I mean, there is not a single performance that is lower stated or higher stated than everyone else's. They are all at the top of their game. As usual, Brad Pitt is fantastic, and he plays this really like cynical character, and he has like he's this kind of hitman type character, but he's kind of squirmish about his job, and he's kind of had this, and he's kind of like has a lot of dimensions to him as well, and all the characters do, as a matter of fact. And it's fantastic to see a film which is only 90 minutes long but has so many in-depth characters. One of the main characters that stood out for me was Ray Liotta's character. He was such a sympathetic character to relate to, and while he doesn't have a lot of screen time throughout the whole picture, he manages to make quite a lot of emotional responses from the audience, and I really got invested into his character. So by the end of the film, which is only 90 minutes, you manage to feel for each of the characters and get a feel and a vibe from them and know about them, what they are as a human being. And it's masterful filmmaking because within such a short amount of time it covers so much ground but never feels rushed or forced or anything. Everything feels necessary, and the plot is constantly moving forward and engaging. And the director, Andrew Dominik, also directed one of my favourite films of all time, which is The Assassination of Jesse James, and he manages to bring over his directing abilities over into this film and create a fantastic motion picture. He uses interesting uses of camera work. I mean, there's loads of tracking shots that go on for you know, way over a minute. And then there's like interesting uses where he will put the camera onto the door, so when the door opens the camera goes with it, and when the door shuts it goes with it as well. And it's just such little touches, but they're so interesting, and constantly he's you know, mixing up using a variety of camera shots and angles that it's always feeling fresh. And there's some fantastic cinematic sequences. I mean, the whole heist itself is one of my favourite scenes of the year, and it's a contender for one of my favourite scenes of all time. And the scenes towards the end, every scene in this film feels just so well structured and well balanced that it's just it's hard to imagine a director being able to pull this off, but he does. And one of the things I will commend it for is its use of violence. In Lawless, I felt the violence was used as a tool to keep the audience engaged. Now in this, violence is used not much as Lawless, it's usually a couple of times, and when it is, you really get a sense of the physicalness of it, and you really get the emotive response that the director is trying to bring out of you for when this violence comes across, and it's a fantastic use of it, and I really commended him for that. To me, this film felt a lot like last year's film Drive, in a similar sense how it managed to... It was a crime thriller, but had some sort of emotional tangents and a subtext to bite into as well. And I really like that, since Drive was one of my favourite films of last year, and Killing Them Softly is one of my favourite films of this year. So I'm going to give Killing Them Softly 5 out of 5 stars. I think it is a fantastic piece of filmmaking. It's not for everyone. I think it will alienate some audiences, but for me, I thought this was a really nicely cut, nicely concise film with a great cast, great direction, great filmmaking. It was everything that I look for in a film, and I loved it. And as usual, if you like this review, you can click subscribe and you can see more.